So something that I've thought for a long time is that the pursuit of material goods and blind consumerism in the Western world is just such a negative thing, and it's responsible for so much suffering and unhappiness. So in my research I bought a few books, and I just like to talk a little bit about these now. So the first book is The High Price of Materialism by Tim Kasser. Now this guy's a professor of psychology, and this is a scientific study into materialism. And what he found, as many other people have found, that once we have sufficient food, shelter and clothing, so we're not living in poverty, but once we're above the poverty line, further materialistic gains don't have any effect on our well-being. So we might as well just be living, within our means and have a modest amount of possessions and a modest amount of money, because anything beyond that doesn't make us feel any better. And what he's also discovered is that people whose values center on accumulating wealth and material possessions are actually at much greater risk of being unhappy, being anxious, being depressed. So it's a really interesting scientific study which backs up my own beliefs. Another one which is kind of similar is Oliver James's Affluenza. And yeah, on a similar note, this guy goes around various countries and shows how different nations have different attitudes to the accumulation of wealth and material possessions, and how healthy those societies are in relation to their attitudes to the accumulation of wealth. And he finds pretty much the same as Tim Kasser. I mean, he finds that this crazy notion that we're just here to accumulate as much as possible, and that making as much money as possible is one of the prime goals in life. He just shows how unhealthy that is. As it says in the back, an epidemic of affluenza is sweeping through the English-speaking world, an obsessive, envious keeping up with the Joneses that makes us twice as prone to depression, anxiety and addictions than people in other developed nations. So yeah, that's quite an interesting one as well. Now this one I've just finished, and I found this very interesting. This guy's really taken the idea to the extreme, and he's actually trying to live without using any money whatsoever. He's an Irish guy, and I believe his background is in business. He ran some kind of I don't know what it was. It was some kind of bio-food company. But he realised also that money was a real problem, and he decided to live without money. So he gave himself the challenge of living for a year without money, and he got a caravan off somebody for free and set it up in a field on the edge of a farm. And he's been growing his own food, bartering, using waste products and things that people have thrown away. So it's a really interesting read. And after the year, he actually found that he liked it so much that he decided to carry on. I think he's been living without money now for a year and a half. And I mean, it does sound like a very hard lifestyle, well, especially at the beginning. But once he got into the routines, he said he just, had a really enjoyable time. And yeah, he's really pushing the idea of actually trying to live without money. And, I'm not advocating that, because it's not a possibility for a lot of people. But what all of these books have confirmed to me is that we definitely need to get away from this concept of just trying to become rich and trying to accumulate as much wealth and as many possessions as possible, because it doesn't make us happy and it causes suffering. And yeah, the key to the future is becoming self-sufficient and just trying to get away from the financial systems and from money, which is something we're going to have to do anyway, because we're entering the next Great Depression, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions. So if you can do these things and learn to get rid of these addictions to money and to possessions, then you really giving yourself a head start for the future when times are going to be much harder than they are now. So let me know your thoughts anyway, and I look forward to reading them. Cheers.